My name is Alexandra Montoya. You are
Mr. Gonzales.
Mr.
Mhm.
Gonzales. Okay. I heard that you were in the army, right? In the
I was
military?
actually in the Navy. I was
Oh,
in the
okay.
Navy,
In the
yeah.
Navy.
hmm
Okay. And when did you enlist?
I enlisted my senior year. So I enlisted in December of 1998,
Mm.
and then I left for boot camp in July of 1999.
Oh,
hmm
okay. And what do you remember about the day you enlisted?
So when you actually enlist, you have to go down to this place called MEPS, the Military Entrance Processing Station, and ours was in San Diego. So we
Mm.
got on a bus, and they called it a bus, but it was just a big van, and they drove us all down there.
Mm.
They put us in a hotel, and they're like, "Don't get in trouble, don't do anything stupid, just stay here, behave." And then the next morning, we went to the actual station, and
Oh,
we did all of our physicals and all of our paperwork, and got sworn in and then got sent back home. So I had to wait like 6 months before I graduated high school
oh,
to
okay.
actually go. And then leaving though was completely different. Like
Mm.
that, I remember the day that I left. I said bye to my girlfriend at the time, my parents,
Oh,
and just you get to take one bag with you just for an overnight
yeah.
purposes, and then that was that, and we were on our way.
Dang.
Mhm.
Okay. And what were some of the reasons that you joined?
My grandpa. My grandpa was in the Navy and he fought in World War II.
Mm.
And so before he passed away, he and I got very close, and I was able to ask him all about his time. And he didn't say too much, but it was always intriguing. And I always wanted to make him proud, you know. And
Mm.
so I thought, you know what? I'm going to be like him. He was my hero. I want to do just like he did. My uncle was in the Navy. I had other uncles that were in the military. So it's kind of like a family tradition. And my dad always told me, he's like, you know what? Go. It's going to be good for you. Go. You're going to do cool things and see cool stuff. So by all
Yeah.
means, son.
Huh. And how did you choose your branch of service?
Like I said, my grandpa, he was
Yeah.
in the Navy, and I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to be just like him.
Okay.
So yeah, joined the Navy because of that.
Okay. Um, how did you imagine military life before you joined, and how did your perception of it change?
Just like anybody, you kind of think of the movies. You know, you
Mm.
you see the yelling and the screaming and the getting talked down to and
Yeah.
all that stuff. That's kind of what I thought. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
Mm.
It's not a big deal. And then talking to my grandpa, he was like, it's not quite like that, son. It's a little bit different, but you're gonna get yelled at, you're gonna get screamed at, but that was the idea I had, was just a little bit of a mix of what he said, what my recruiter said, which is
Mm.
always, of course, a different
Yeah.
story, and then what I saw in movies. And then when I got there, I was like, okay, so this isn't bad. It
Mm.
wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things is when we were on our bus and we actually were driving to the station, they pulled over and they said, okay, everyone take a deep breath in and hold it. So we were looking at each other and we do. We take a deep breath in and hold it. And then he says, now drive. So the driver goes over and he says, now exhale. And we exhale. He said, that was your last breath of civilian air for the next 5 years. That completely messed everybody up. Everyone was okay until that moment. Then everyone started to panic, like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like adjusting back to civilian life?
It was actually a challenge. When you're in the military, it's not as regulated as they make it. Like, you don't get up at 5 o'clock every morning. You
Mm.
don't have to go do all these little things. Like, it wasn't like structured like that. It was just a job, honestly.
Mm.
Like when I was in, it was during the second Gulf War. So between 1999 and 2004, we had 9/11. We had the Gulf War
Mhm.
in '03. So my job was as a hospital corpsman. I was a field medic, primarily trained.
Mm.
So like you see the guys in movies with the
Yeah.
Red Cross, that was my job. I was trained to
Oh.
do that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to have to be in the middle of this, and I didn't. They
Oh.
didn't. They said, you're staying here. You are going to work the admin side. So I did paperwork for the whole war.
Hmm.
So I got all the guys ready to go, all the girls ready to go. I did all their paperwork, all their shots, and it was just a job. I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work at 6:30, be off by 2, and then go do whatever it is I wanted to do for the day.
Hmm.
So it was kind of interesting that it literally was just a normal everyday job.
Yeah.
I just wore a uniform to work. That's it. No different than anybody else.
Hmm.
So, but adjusting after that, that was kind of weird because I was in charge of a whole clinic. I
Mm.
had one doctor above me, myself, and a nurse. So they would, like, Gonzales or Petty Officer Gonzales, go see patients, go do
Mm.
this, draw blood, do this little surgery we need. Like, I did a lot of stuff. And then when I came time to get out, I couldn't do any of it. I wasn't allowed to,
Mm.
because the training you get there doesn't really transfer out, like as far as the licenses and stuff. So I was
Mm.
kind of back to square one. That was difficult, learning how to be just normal all over
Yeah.
again. You know.
Is there anything you wish civilians understood about the military?
Um, See, this one's kind of weird because so many people make us out to be these wonderful American heroes that go and, we put our lives on the line and everything like that. And there are some people that do.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that are out there every single day in Iraq and in Afghanistan and in Saudi Arabia, and now with everything going on in Israel, there's all these people that are doing things that are very vital to our national security. And then there's everyday guys like me who were just there. We were doing paperwork, and most of us just we did it as the job. We knew what we had to do. We weren't trying to be heroes. So I think that everyone needs to see that, like, we're normal people too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did something that a lot of people see as special, and I get that. Believe me, I do. And I appreciate every time someone thanks me for my service.
Yeah.
But I'm just a normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a superhero. I'm not a hero. Nothing like that. I was just a normal guy who signed up to do what I thought I should do.
Yeah. How has the military prepared you for life?
um Quite honestly, there was a lot in the military that I was able to take into life. Like, there's a lot of personal responsibility they teach you. There's a lot of attention to detail. Like, there's little things that you have to do right, or else something can go very wrong. You have to count on the person next to you, because they always tell you in the worst case scenario, it's you two against the world. You have to protect them. They got to protect you. So I learned a lot of teamwork. I learned a lot of basically getting along with everybody. In high school, there's always the one person that doesn't like this person or that person. They hate them.
Mm-hmm.
If we could all learn to just really, truly just understand, we're here to get through 6.5 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
5 days a week, learn, get what needs to be done, and go home.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we did in the military. Do your job, fulfill the mission, and then you can go home. If we could do that everywhere, that would be great. And I think that's one of the things that actually help with my temperament as a teacher. Some teachers, they're way too strict or too mean, according to students, that is, too strict or too mean. But if you can just go in there and understand, look, we all have a job to do. Let's all get it done together and work as a team. It could be so much easier for us all. So I think that was one of the biggest things.
And what advice would you give to civilians if they were thinking of signing up?
Do your research first and foremost. Know what branch you want to go into, and make sure that they have the job you want. Recruiters will try to get you to sign up, and that's their job. They want you to sign up, but you need to make sure you read the paperwork and get the job that you want. Don't just get the job they want to give you. It's just like in anything. You need to know your worth, know what you're capable of, and go for that job. The other thing I would tell people is also go to college. Most people will tell you, yeah, go enlist. It's great. You can see the world. Some people do. But most people, like me, I went to Chicago for a year, and then I was in San Diego for 4. I didn't see much of the world at all, other than like a trip to Canada for a month. That's it.
Yeah.
But go in there and go to college, because then you can be an officer. It's always better to give orders than to take them. So that's what I always try to instill in my students, that there's nothing wrong with the military. The military is a great option for some people, and if you can hack it, as they say, then you're going to do great. But I always tell them, go to college first, get some life experience, and then when you go in, you're an officer. You're the one getting the salutes. You're the one giving the orders, not doing all the grunt work.
And that are all the questions I have for today.
Okay.
Thank you for taking your time to take this interview.
Of course, absolutely.
Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.